Hello and welcome everyone to FPL Jedi Show. Gameweek 2 is over and there's plenty of things for us to discuss. My name is Hafiz and I would like to welcome my co-host Azmin to the stream. How are you, brother? You're on mute, Min?
Okay. It's good. Good. Happy. Not so happy with my team's performance, but I'm a patient person. So let's see how we
Oh,
go. Yeah. But again, early days. Yeah. Let's regroup and let's see what the challenges are.
all right. Great to hear that you're committed to be patient this week instead of being aggressive. I think both of us have two free transfer, right? Coming to this game week 3. Okay, pretty much with the two free transfer, we can so-called like do a mini wildcard or maybe take one or two. I don't know. Okay, he's and there just to reconstruct our team if it's needed. Okay.
I'm ch- I'm
Um,
ch- I'm channeling the inner Hafiz in me. Patience.
All right, great stuff. By the way, just want to mention that Afos supposedly to join our stream, but he last minute won't be able to make it. But he might actually join somewhere in the middle of the stream. We just won't know if it's around. Then he will come in later. And at the same time, would like to welcome Rakan FPL to the stream. Okay, has been posting some question to us. Later we will actually address it. But why not we take a look the talking points for Gaming 3, okay? Of which the first one we definitely going to run through our team, how we perform in Game Week 2, okay? Most definitely, it will be a low scoring week. And then we run through some match results from Game Week 2, do some a bit of analysis, look at some key stats and what we can actually take some of those statistics to our thinking. Number 3 is actually also a popular question this week, of which Joao Pedro replacement, since he actually start from the bench in game week 2. It could be a surprise one, but Azmin has Joao Pedro, which is a good thing. We can discuss what is his thinking this week. And then we take a look at game week 3 fixture. The captain P, I'm not sure whether we want to deliberate so much, okay? And then what is our transfer plan for this week? And most definitely, we want to mention about the man on the right hand side, Brian Mbuemo, who actually has an explosive game week 2. So I think let's go to my team first, okay? Of which I only scored 45 points, but to be frank, actually I scored the highest between three of us, so called with Afos and yourself. But the average point for this week, to be frank, is actually only 44 points. So it's actually a low scoring week, and I scored one more above the average point. I have now total points of 117, and you can see my rank there actually go down from 2.37 now 2.7 million, so called around 360,000 places down. Okay, but there's still early day, but it is coming and play into your mind that yeah, you just need to keep improving and be patient, like Azmin mentioned. So my team on the right side, you can see I played Matt Turner over Pickford. Well, pick of playing Turner turns out to be the better pick, although it's only 2 extra points over Pickford, who did not score any points. And like everyone we have Estupinan. We actually gain another big points from the Colombian defender, right? Okay, Estupinan. We have I have two defenders there, of which Gabriel continue be a disappointing player. I think we're going to touch a bit on him also because he actually continue on the bench on game week 2 and only comes up after Tobiasu being red carded. Okay, and then I have Luke Shaw. Manchester United actually lose 2-0 against Spurs and only 1 point from the England left back. But pretty much that's the result. I do not have Chilwell, but the most transfer in, later we touch on Chilwell. He actually scored the same point as Shaw and Gabriel 1 point. So there's not much damage there from the Chelsea defender. In midfield, continue to be disappointing is actually Arsenal and Manchester United midfield trio. Duo, can I say, Martinelli and Saka, and Bruno Fernandes and Rashford, of which Saka could actually scored a goal if, let's say, not Odegaard who actually took the penalty. We will touch a bit on whether that role of penalty taker for Arsenal has been changing. But Arteta did mention that he also did not realize or he did not discuss that Odegaard going to take that penalty. Okay, so it means that whether he's actually lying or maybe he really do not know. But I feel maybe the latter, of which they feel on the field that Saka feel that Odegaard should take the penalty. All right, so that's the story. And then I have Captain Haaland, like everyone else, like other 5.7 million who actually captain him. And then I have Watkins. Aston Villa scored 4 goals. Watkins did not take one of the penalty that is supposedly taken, so his value so-called going down. But at least he produced an assist, coming back from last week. 5 points, another 5 points. So maybe I should not complain, but he's actually valued at million price tag. So maybe we expect more than 5 points a week. But that's the scenario for Watkins. So I think we can discuss in a mix in terms of forward, the second forward striker after Haaland. And the bench really don't have. Udogi could actually come in for Gabriel if he did not feature. I could get 5 points, but it was not meant to be only 1 point. So, man, any comment in terms of my team? You're on mute.
So so obviously one of the key players appears really shaping up as Stupinian. Who if anyone didn't have him for the first 2 game weeks, then you probably lost significant ground. Because he is the player at the moment, consistent and coming from the back in defense, he's doing well. So so it does look like he's moving towards a must-have. So Gabriel this is the problem with Gabriel, the situation of what's going on with whether it's because Arteta's no longer favoring him, is it because of the interest from Saudi Arabia? So that's something that you need to decide. Players, people, managers like you, Hafiz, and others because plenty may still have Gabriel, need to decide what to do. And this is now the second match in a row that he didn't start. So that's the frustrating thing. So another batch, you have the 3 Manchester United players who flattered to deceive again. So it's also something, although you would think at the matchup and still think it's worth holding. So, but well done on having the right second Brighton player pick, which is Mitoma. Yeah, so that for me it's a triumph in itself. Yeah, considering the rest didn't really perform consistently, I should say, because in terms of even Haaland blanked for this time. You were mentioning about penalties. So Watkins didn't take and Douglas Luiz did. So someone summarized this score. Quite a few penalty issues. You had the Odegaard Saka thing. You had the Watkins Luiz thing. You had the Jackson Endo.
Enzo, yes, Enzo.
Yeah, Enzo. Yeah. So it was quite something because it's making us question our beliefs in terms of who's taking the penalties. Yeah, so it's definitely something we have to do a reality check and see whether it's something that we need to revisit. So so Turner Pickford, Pickford's just a shame, but Turner only ended up conceding 1 goal and didn't really do much saves anyway, hence only 2 points. So it's just one thing, but at 4.0 it's still good enough to go on. Yeah, and although I do envy your Udogi pick, who could turn out to be quite useful in the near future as matches start coming in a bit more, and you'll start to see some rotation. So having Udogi, I think it's good to have. Yeah. So all in all, I could say your team, overall is disappointing, but you did have the right players to go above the average points. So still credit to you.
Right. Let's jump to Afos team. Well, although he's not here, we just quickly run through. Afos team scored 44 points, really bang on average one for game week 2. So he scored 129 points overall from the 2 game weeks, and he's actually ranked now go down from 214 now in just outside 1 million. But 129 points compared to mine is really tight. So basically, just like few points, then your rank could be from 1 million to 200,000, could be 100,000, right? So I think we really need to be patient, man. Although we need to motivate ourselves. Don't be so down if, let's say, the rank really in millions, like yourself later touch on your team 4.3 million, right? But it's really tight in terms of points. Okay. uh, but just read out Alpha's team. He has Onana only 2 points. Okay. Yeah, same like Turner. Turns out Manchester lost to Spurs 2-0. Yeah. Chilwell only 1 point. Estepona 11. He also have Gabriel issue. So I don't know if he's around, then maybe he can actually talk about whether he tends to do, because his bench also quite light. You can see the likes of Baldock there, who might not be featuring, and Bayer Burnley. Maybe he's actually a permanent fixture for Burnley, but he's not like someone attacking, right? So I think that's something that maybe Afos will address. He has 3 million in the bank, like we mentioned before. So he has plenty of money. He can go anywhere. Gabriel to TA is something also a possibility. In terms of midfield, he actually has same lineup duo, Bruno Fernandes, Rashford, Martinez, but the difference being he has the form player right now, Mbomo. Game week 1, he scored 1 goal. I think he scored 7 points. And this one, Mbomo later be touched. Or a spoiler, I can say, the most scored player for game week 2, 16 points. Really good indeed. I think spot on for our first pick. And then he has Haaland, captain, but Joao Pedro is something that maybe he will address this week, because he actually came out from bench and yellow carded, right? I mean, so that's why he got 0.
Yep, that's right. So very very annoying for Pedro. But then later on when you come to my team, because I also have Pedro, but I did suspect this would happen, and because Brighton's striker options are they're so rich in options. You got Enciso, you got Undaf, you got Ferguson, you got Pedro, you got Welbeck. I keep thinking that Welbeck's going to be phased out, but he keeps coming back and still, and because he plays that role well, as not someone who helps to bring other players in, because Welbeck's not a selfish player, and that is probably one of the main reasons why Zerbi continues to play him, because he helps bring others into the game. So so credit to Zerbi there.
All right. So now we go to your team, man. Of which
Yep.
you scored 39 points, okay? So lower than average point. Total point 107. So basically, even though it's total point 20 points only that you're different from Afos, and the rank is 4.3 million right now. So I think it's close. So can you run your team?
Yeah, okay. So obviously, I also went on the Turner Pickford thing, and and wisely went for Turner instead of Pickford. So Estupiñán. I had Chilwell, and also my differential was TA, who has done nothing to suggest that he needs to stay in the lineup. He might be injured. Foden, he was what should have been Mbuemo. Yeah. So, but fortunately, he did return this game week. Not spectacular, but good enough that it's I don't feel annoyed. So Martinelli didn't return. Saka didn't return. Eze, So again he had the stats, but nothing to end the scoring. Even though Crystal Palace did win, so I posted a tweet saying, "Is Eze this season's Neto?" Remember Neto from Wolves last season, where he pre-season it looked so good. Everyone start bringing him into the team, only to really fail. And so far now, that's 2 out of 2 matches that he has not returned. So we'll see how that goes. Then you have Haaland, who blanked. Oh, sorry, Rashford. So I was dreading that Manchester United match against Spurs, because I only had Rashford, thinking it's not gonna I'm gonna fall back even further, only to see Spurs win 2-0. So it was a relief for me. Then of course Haaland captaincy, it did not work, and Pedro. So it really is, the thing is, I just want to point out, because none of us had Salah, who was the
Okay,
preferred
all right.
captain for this option, but the fortunately for all of us, although Salah did return, but it was just an assist, so nothing spectacular. So we got out of it. Well, we saved ourselves in a way. So yeah.
Mhm. Yeah, as we did touch about captaincy, I think Salah being captain around 1.2 million managers. Uh, Later we touch on the game analysis. We know Salah actually got penalty, but if he did not miss that one, he could really like get some double digit points, man. So that's maybe blessing to us who do not have Salah, even and on top of that, not captaining Salah, right, and captaining the blank Haaland. So I can say whoever captain Salah or who owns Salah and captain him, they've been unlucky. If not, they could have a big week in Gameweek 2 that I can mention.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so. From here, man, I think you definitely satisfied with Foden. Okay, and moving forward, if let's say you keep, I think Man City has really excellent match after they already passed that Newcastle challenge. Okay, but Joao Pedro, maybe ATA is something that you're looking at to tackle this week, man. But as you mentioned, you're frustrated, but it's against Arsenal this week, so maybe you can still be patient because moving forward, maybe Palace. We take a look at the fixture ticker on the Palace fixture. All right, man. We go to Gameweek 2 team of the week, of which just want to share the top performer, like I mentioned there, Mbuemo with 16 points. Clearly, he will be attracting a lot of managers moving forward because he actually second most scored player with 24 points, if I'm not mistaken. All right. The first one is actually somewhere there. Solimatch. People already forgot about him. Not Mitoma. Solimatch scored another 2 goals there. The brace, 15 points. And he's now 1 point more than Mbomo in terms of total points. So basically, he's actually the most scored player right now. Still remember Pascal Gross last season. I think he performed like that. Then Brighton continued to perform this week again. So we can see 3 Brighton players there. Estupinan, March, and Mitoma continue to perform. Okay. And then we have the likes of Vicario, Spurs, because they actually keep a clean sheet. 11 points, 3 bonus points. So that's where Vicario is there. Okay. We have Aurea, 2 assists against Sheffield United. So 10 points there. Digny, assist, keep clean sheet. Aston Villa against 4-0 against Everton. All right. So we got 10 points there. Bomo, March, Bailey. Okay. Aston Villa really had a good result against Everton. 4-0. That's where we can see Digny and Bailey there. 15 points. Jota, I mean, 12 points. Liverpool did win 3-1. So maybe that one you can touch whether Jota could be an option if let's say we're going to Liverpool as said. Wisa, man, 11 points. It's something to make me thinking. I think maybe Visa can be an option also if let's say we want to replace the life of Joao Pedro. I mean, maybe that option. And Antonio, 9 points. He delivered 3 bonus points against Chelsea.
So it seems like it's the rise of some old forgotten FPL assets rising to the occasion for this one. So you got Aurier, an attacking formerly of Spurs, who had some decent FPL points in his day. You have Digne, back before he screwed up at Everton. Now he following up, and Antonio, and that is largely thanks to some JWP magic, I should say. Yeah, so that's something that we should monitor for West Ham. And of course, Wissa, who in the absence of Tony is now getting a lot more starts and positioning, especially into very, very favorable. So well done there to those who went for Wissa. So for the braver ones who went for Jota, who is now with Jota and Diaz are so far have returned more than our safe pick Mohamed Salah. So now they have both returned more than Salah. So it's now a big question, questioning even more for those who have Salah. Are you spending your units wisely at the moment, considering Liverpool's setup? And of course, the other person is Bailey. I wanted to just mention him. So, with Watkins failing to deliver, it was down to Bailey. And Bailey, I don't think he because it was only really because Buendias got injured that suddenly
Yeah,
was,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
otherwise he wouldn't even, it was hard for him to get a look in. So there he goes. But but we do remember that he has had his injury issues in the past, so that's something to consider. But on Vic Barrio, yep, well done Spurs, clean sheet against Manchester United of all teams. So when you look at this, you there are plenty of reasons why these are not just flash in the pans, that they could potentially return again in the near future. So yeah, it's something to monitor, for all these players.
All right, good stuff. I mean, we can see there Brighton, Brentford, Aston Villa. Maybe this is the team that we need to think forward, but at least these are the performing players in Game Week 2. Let's go to have a look at matches played in Game Week 2. Just a key highlights, of which we only have 9 fixture, like we mentioned, because Burnley and Luton Town has been postponed. We have 6 home wins team, and then we have 3 away wins. So there is no like a draw matches in Game Week 2. 5 team with clean sheets and 27 goals scored, 1 goal fewer than last week. So, but from here we can see, I think clearly Brighton, they thumb again with a 4-1 scoring line with last week against Luton Town. And this week, away to Wolves, 4-1. So maybe we really need to think or consider about Brighton players. Okay. The other one, Aston Villa, did win 4-0 against Everton. So that may be another team that can come into fray, even though they lost 4-1 against Newcastle, who has really been performing in game week 1. Okay. And then I think another big result also is actually West Ham. They actually fought hard against Chelsea, and Chelsea did not take their chance, especially they missed penalty away to Enzo Fernandez. Right. So that's where that West Ham win got it. Another clearly winner also Brentford. They continue to perform. Okay, 2-2 last week, but they scored 3-0 away to Fulham. Although maybe there's a caveat because Tim Ream were actually sent off in that game. Okay, maybe that's one thing. But I think clearly Arsenal also disappointing because they do not score enough goals for us to really solidify that whether we should have triple up Arsenal players. Only 1-0 against Crystal Palace away, then Manchester United lost to Spurs, and maybe Spurs asset people are going to consider. What do you think, Nick?
Right. So just now you mentioned about Tim Ream getting sent off, and swing factors. But at the same time, we also had I think Arsenal, Tomiyasu got red carded also, and but they managed to hold on. West Ham, Agut, one of the goal scorers, scored and then proceeded to get himself sent off. But somehow Chelsea were unable to regroup and win against that. So it's been quite an interesting week there. Aston Villa, at first it looked that Everton were going to hold, and then it just total collapse. So, and it really makes us doubt for those of us who had Pickford. Is Sean Dyche even gonna still be around by the seventh match? I don't know. It depends, because it's just that the manner of the capitulation is going to really raise some questions about whether or not Everton or Sean Dyche is still capable of doing, or living up to his reputation as a defensive, with a strong defense team. So yeah, obviously those who wet Watkins, sadly didn't really return, but I think it's more about targeting Everton, because Aston Villa, they spreaded out their points, didn't they, in terms of who scored. No one had a monopoly.
Yeah.
I guess I want to just also briefly mention Manchester City, Newcastle. So in the absence of KDB, it was Foden that stepped up. Yeah, but Newcastle was solid, to be fair. Yeah, so a bit unlucky, but they did play a bit negatively, I felt. Yeah, so but definitely it's Newcastle are definitely a team to watch, because to only concede 1 goal against a City side, who, although missing KDB, but is still strong enough, and to blank Haaland. So Newcastle are, for me, even though they lost this one, I think they're going to be the team to watch in the next few weeks.
Yeah, I agree. So maybe we might not run through each game, but I have some point analysis for each match in terms from live FPL of we can see here in terms of Man City against Newcastle, like you mentioned, they kept back-to-back clean sheet, can I say? So people who actually go for Edison, they got back-to-back clean sheet. But you mentioned, Foden assist, he actually got 3 bonus points. Alvarez scored a goal, he got 2 bonus points. Akanji, is it Ruben Diaz, right? So that's something maybe we should consider, because against a Newcastle side, they still keep tight, clean sheet, not really big performance, but at least they deliver the result that matters. So Foden, Alvarez, I think these people are talking about them. What do you think, man?
Yeah, I definitely think the City defense bears thinking about now that we've seen how Pep lines up. It's definitely something we need to consider. If we have no if we're so uncertain in terms of that lineup. But then when you think about it, with KDB injured, it feels like the rest of the squad makes itself up mostly. So you got people like Cole Palmer who's trying to get in, but obviously still young, not likely to get a chance yet. And it looks like a pretty solid in terms of rotation, because that is always something that we're scared about when it comes to Pep's side. But it looks as though we might get some stability, although with John Stones still injured, I think. So we'll see how that comes when he comes back. Yeah, but otherwise, I think people like Akanji might be worth, even Gavadio, might even be something to look at.
Okay, fair that we touched about Man City. Just want to touch about Brighton. They scored another 4 goals. You can see they marched 2 goals. Estumina, Mitoma. Estumina continue to produce an assist. Same like Mitoma. Mitoma really produced an electrifying solo goal. Okay, that's something that when I cheer because they scored the first goal, I said, wow, hopefully Mbuemo do not perform. But in the end, Mbuemo also performed with a better result from Mitoma. There we can see Enciso produced 2 assists, so Pedro really feel threat, I'm not sure he's going to start the game, right? I don't know.
Yeah, this is the problem with Brighton. So I mentioned earlier that they have so many options to choose from, and which is why we those who went for this, well, arguably safe pick in Mitoma, and it's paying off dividends. Although because there was so much hype with Mitoma and Pedro and Estupinian, of course, that Marsh was just it really didn't seem to be a topic of the preseason discussions, but he stepped up. So I know that most of us are still concerned about how it's going to look when European matches comes in. But at the moment, those who got Brighton assets, the right Brighton assets, are definitely profiting, I should say.
All right. Touch a bit on your team, Liverpool versus Bournemouth. Okay, we know some people have Salah. He missed a penalty, but he actually scored after rebound. If we just talk about Salah, what do you think, Is Salah someone that, if let's say you are the owner, are you keeping him or are you moving away after this week?
I really wouldn't recommend keeping him, because next match, who did they face? They face Newcastle. So he's not returning how much you paid him for. That's the problem. It's one thing for him to he's still returning, but at his price, okay. And I only just noticed, I know it's only 2 game weeks in, but I only just noticed there's only 3 players that are priced above 10 million now, with Harry Kane having left. So which is Haaland, KDB and Salah. And and KDB was not a popular pick because he was always expensive and was not returning as he should be. So, and now he's injured, so it's fine. So now we're down to Haaland and Salah. And Salah, he's not injured, but is he returning what we expect? No, he isn't. And that's the problem, because of the amount of units we've invested in him. And I have had my doubts from the start, and it's looking like, in that sense, I'm right, which is that because of the way Liverpool are set up, the unstable midfield, he's just not returning value at the moment. So he would definitely be someone I consider removing in absence, because you've got someone, if you don't have, for example, Mitoma at half the price,
Okay.
and returning Salah's value, you got to consider, you got to think about it.
All right. Talking about my team, on the other hand, Chelsea, they lost 3-1 against West Ham. They did come back from a goal from Agud, okay, and then Chuk Wimeka actually scored a goal there after that injured before being substituted. Then Enzo actually took a penalty but missed. So this is where I have some reservation because Chelsea is still in transition and they failed to win against West Ham. But people are thinking about Chelsea asset. So I'm not sure. Later we touch about the striker department of
Yeah,
Jackson. People are thinking,
yeah.
but I I don't know. I still have reservation, but I'm not sure. Maybe that's the way that people will go, and I might go there.
So the thing that attracts Chelsea most now, especially now, is the run of fixtures. I can't remember exactly, but you got Luton, you got Nottingham Forest as well. So it's just really attractive. So you got to think, people punting on Chelsea will definitely be hoping that that they will come good again in this very favorable fixture list. And obviously those who don't have Chilwell will probably look to bring him in. We know what happened when they brought in Mudryk in.
Yeah.
So he was filling in that. At first he was playing center, and then he ended up filling that left role after I can't pronounce his name. That Chikwanka got injured. The goal,
Yeah.
yes, and as a result of that change in setup, so Chilwell was subbed off. Yeah, so I don't think it's going to be a normal thing that Chilwell getting subbed off. I think he will continue because it's just that the change of formation prompted that. So once you set
Yeah.
back up, Chilwell should continue to start and be a bombarding self. So I'm not worried about that.
All right. So just touch a bit. Last one. Arsenal. Odegaard took penalty from Saka. Is that a concern?
With this has been being debated a lot in Twitter. You wouldn't believe, those of you who aren't on Twitter, you wouldn't believe it. So many theories, and because Arteta himself coming out saying that he didn't know that was going to happen.
Yep.
Yeah. So, but at the same time, it supposedly it was something that they decided on the field, but when you look at what Odegaard said about it, is that Odegaard had something along the lines of he said he had been banging him. He had the better record in preseason. So the
Okay.
discussion was Saka just let him take it, So I don't know whether it's a game state issue. So maybe you will see it may have been different if the score was not 0-0. Let's say if the score was 2-0 and then you had the penalty, Saka might be more likely to take it in that situation. But Odegaard's the captain, right? So you got
Yep.
also that responsibility to score and help Arsenal on their way to the win. So we don't know for sure what happened. Maybe Saka suddenly felt nervous about it, decided to let. But look, I've never liked Saka as a penalty taker, and I don't think he's great at them, but he is good at scoring goals. So even though you could think that penalties off his hands, between Saka and Odegaard by default, if we're not thinking about penalties, then Saka is definitely the better goal scorer, and he's more likely to get into those positions. So unless you have both, I wouldn't sell Saka to get Odegaard in just because of the penalties.
All right. Thanks for that clarification. I would like to welcome Roku to the stream. Hello. Okay. Let's go to some stats, man. Okay, in terms of key stats, in terms of teams after 2 games, in terms of goal attempts, Brighton clearly on top with 43 attempts, and 20 of them is on target. And we know they are the highest team with goals scored, 8 goals so far. So they are clearly the winner. Okay. Then we have the likes of Liverpool also in terms of attempt, they are second, and then Wolves, but most of the attempt maybe from the Manchester United game. Crystal Palace still up there, man. Okay, maybe scoot a bit because the first game they face Sheffield United. All right, but they're somewhere top there, Manchester United and Spurs. and City. In terms of on the right side, shots conceded means that Bournemouth is actually the most team with shots conceded, 42. And then after that, with Manchester United and Sheffield United at 40 shots conceded. Means that if let's say the more shots conceded, maybe it's good for your goalkeeper in terms of save point. There is potentially that could be the case. So what we can make up on in terms of these stats, man?
Firstly, well, Brighton. I don't know what to say. It does appear Brighton are continuing where they left off, being the very exciting team that at the same time they're not exactly clean at the back either. They're a bit like they remind me a bit of like the Liverpool during the early era of Klopp. They were used to being known as the rock and roll, rock a heavy metal team where you just like go all out. But Brighton look good. So where FPL is concerned, definitely we should, and where the shots considered part, it doesn't matter really because most of us are on Estupinian whose attacking returns are just there. So it's all about their goal attempts. So the question is that if you had Pedro, which should you go? Would you still keep him? So that's a question that we need to figure out. So we had Liverpool having a great time with Bournemouth, but again, Salah unfortunately not really being part of that party. So obviously scoring, missing a penalty and scoring, he got his things, but then it's not what we want to see from that kind of asset. But I would like to point Crystal Palace, they're continuing what they did last week, but Wolves being up there, so that is something that we should take note of. But the problem is we started to wonder. I'm starting to think, are we still seeing the Wolves from last season where it sounds like they look good, but somehow they don't have a proper finisher, so they still can't score. So the season's jury is still out on that one, but they look decent to watch. The Brighton Wolves match at the start was quite exciting because Wolves, you can see Wolves were really pressing. They were playing the pressing game and they seemed to do it really well, but when it push comes down to shove, Brighton had the better quality.
Okay. We touch on the players main, of which in terms of goal attempts, wow, Eze is on top, man. Whether you surprised or not, because you mentioned maybe in terms of Eze did not deliver for the past 2 games, right? But he's actually on top in terms of attempts, 12 attempts. After that, Edward, okay, still from Crystal Palace player. But third one is Visa, man. Brentford. He's cheap, 6.1. Forward, looks like with attempts 10 and then 9 inside the box. So I mean, he can actually be the one that in terms of stats there, and actually he scored goals for Brentford, and Brentford clearly a good team, to be frank. Okay, they can be stubborn against the good teams, so I think they should be considered. We have Bowen somewhere there. We have Solly Match. Okay, he got 3 goals. I don't know whether he's overperformed, but he actually have 8 attempts there and 5 inside the box, so still okay. Salah, you did mention, he at least got 8 attempts and 5 inside the box and 3 big chances. So Salah in terms of that is still also there, even though like you mentioned, it's not really producing up to his price point. So what do you think, man?
It's frustrating lah. I mean, for Salah. So anyway, so you got Bruno Fernandes, like you could also looking, and you saw some really unlucky. So you would think that you would back him to score those. Diaz, who although he's now scored 2 goals in 2 matches, but then his stats aren't as high, and that's one reason he isn't central player. He plays attacking on the left, but it's just that he gets into those right positions and he's more efficient, I could say, compared to the likes of Eze, Edward. But when you think about it, you've got Crystal Palace. Fine, the first match was they won, but the second match they lost against Arsenal 1-0. Yet there they are, Eze and Edward still remaining at the top. of the attempts. So you've got to credit to the way Crystal Palace played, no fear against Arsenal, and somehow just being unlucky not to make it off. So definitely, I know Eze has not done what we expect him to do yet, at least in terms of FPL points, but it's worth holding on to just to see how you know be a bit more patient and hoping that it will eventually translate into points.
All right. I mean, just touch a bit. Really, at the bottom there, somewhere there, 15, 16 place, is Mbuemo with only 6 attempts. So means that he maybe overperformed because he scored 3 goals and 2 of them is penalty. So maybe we need to be careful. I'm not too sure.
He's just more efficient, I guess. Maybe yeah.
Okay.
In terms of chance creation, maybe it's not as strong. As a result, he doesn't have as many goal attempts. But reality is, he knows
Okay.
where the goal is, and that's where he's doing well. So definitely look, because you've got just above him, you have Jackson, right? And he's getting himself to the great positions, but unfortunately he's just not scoring. Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
But again, one thing to consider is obviously the price point. Yeah. So you got Eze and Edward cheap down there, and then Mbuemo down there is cheap, and a lot of mid-range people in the middle. But all I want to say there is that there's a lot of decently priced attacking players who are recording good goal attempts. So you can definitely get a balanced squad.
All right. Next is actually assist potential main. After 2 games, whoever thought main is your team. Foden inside your team is actually most chances created and the highest in terms of assist potential with 9 chances created. Okay, the first one, and after that Mitoma, same numbers of chances created, 9, but big chances created is 2 or more to Foden. In terms of minutes, maybe Mitoma more secured after 2 games. We have Julian Alvarez there, also from Man City. So also in terms of goal scored, he also up there, and chances created, he actually have 8. So maybe he actually have both ways of producing points for us. And after that, Estupinian and Eze, because I still remember in game 1, Eze is actually at the top. But because after Arsenal game, maybe other player like Foden, Mitoma rising to the occasion. So Foden, man, this might be a good thing in terms of stats, and you have him inside your team right now.
Yeah. Obviously, if I compare to who it could have been, which Mbuemo, I'll be disappointed. But based on how it's ended up with the injury to KDB, it's looking good for Foden. And in terms of the way he plays, and of course, because now the question that still pops up is, can Foden assist Haaland? So, but it's looking good, and actually Foden have created quite a few chances for Haaland, but unfortunately Haaland was a bit off and just couldn't convert. But definitely, if you don't have Foden, I would dare say that going Salah to Foden is good move and will also free up some units as well. So that's something. I just wanted to touch on Madison. Yeah, so Madison there, he's looking to be a real asset. Unfortunately, I think he may be out for game week 3, but definitely something to look at for the future. And I think he will rise in the ranks based on his quality and become a real good asset for Spurs.
Okay, all right, fair. Let's go to the next topic, man, of which we want to talk about Joao Pedro replacement, or maybe someone that we want to be patient like yourself, because this is definitely a question for you. Because you have Joao Pedro in your team. Currently, he's priced at 5.6 and owned around by 23.8% median, so it's quite big. And he scored so far from 2 games 7 points. There are some options on the right hand side there. I extract from the uh, FPL table there in terms of Visa, sort by the most total points right now. Visa is at the top, okay, with 20 points. His price really somewhere in that bracket, 5.6, 6.1. We have ISAC there. If you want to go really big, his price actually rose to 7.7 now. ISAC. He actually got he got 13 points from the first game and only 2 points from the second game. Awoni, Okay, I don't know whether you're interested, but he actually played second game, scored another goal. He actually now with 14 points. Nketiah producing another assist this game week for Odegaard to score that penalty. He's on 13 points right now. Solanke somewhere there also. I think he produced another assist against Liverpool. Alvarez also somewhere there, 12 points. He's still decent, somewhere 6 million price tag. Watkins only 2 assists. His price quite high, 8 million. But actually, from there, I actually took Jackson to put inside the table also because he's could be one of the option for us to think. Price at 7 million, but he only scored 2 points so far from 2 games, man. So that's maybe a danger. I don't know. What do you think, mate? This option here.
So, so I'll just talk quickly about Jackson. Yeah, so definitely one of the reasons Jackson is attractive at the moment is because of the Chelsea's great run of fixtures. I believe they topped the fixture table at least for the first 3 matches. So moving forward, but of course it's 7.0, and if you notice in that list on your left, you'll see that on your right, only one player can do a 1-for-1 replacement, which is Nketiah. Yeah, unfortunately for me, I don't know. I don't really. With the Arsenal style of play, I don't really rate Nketiah. I'd much rather see Trossard there because Trossard can really interchange with Martinelli and Saka, and if need be, and Odegaard and play that role. Whereas Nketiah, you're gonna see him just up top a lot in his positioning, so he's not gonna be interchanging. He's not gonna be dropping back, and unfortunately, I do feel that Arsenal style requires that sort of player rather than an out and out striker. But so anyway, my point is I don't like Nketiah as a replacement for Pedro, and I'm also and the thing with us is that most of us may already have 3 Arsenal assets, unless you have Gabriel, in which case you'd be needing 2 transfers if you want to get Nketiah. But other than Nketiah, my point is everyone else will require an additional transfer if you want to get that replacement. So that is something that you need to consider. And who are you selling to have funds
Okay.
to replace Pedro? So that question needs to be
Yeah.
answered.
If let's say money is not an issue, man, okay, and
Mm,
most probably it will be not an issue since most of us only gonna have Haaland only the premium asset and the rest like mid
mm.
price sets. Can you rank 1, 2, 3? Which one that currently in your mind as the first one you consider, second one, and third one?
Isaac,
Isaac, okay.
Isaac, Wissa, and Watkins would be my top 3.
Oh, it's not Jackson. Okay, it's
No,
not in the
not
top three
Jackson.
list. Even
Yeah.
though you
So
did mention fixtures.
yes, I know. So yeah, I was worried, because I was worried about. I've been monitoring price range and thinking that if I wanted to do what I wanted to do, which was to sell one player, which I'll talk about, in order to fund moves to move Pedro to Jackson. This is something I was really thinking of. But the more I looked at it, the more I'm not that convinced with Jackson yet. Yeah,
Okay.
I mean, obviously he's there and then he's in thereabouts, but um, he did get carded last week as well, but that's not the real main issue. The thing is he going to be that goal scorer will Chelsea need? Yeah, so far, even though he's been getting in good positions, he hasn't shown that calmness and ruthlessness to score yet. So, and which, as you can see, the total points is only 2, but it's no doubt the fixtures are enticing, but I just not rate him as a better striker over strikers, which is Watkins, Isaac, and now Wissa, who I think was previously a midfielder, but now he's a striker. FPL is concerned. Yeah, and I'm putting Isaac at the top because I really like Newcastle's look at the moment. I feel the midfield is really strong, and against poorer defenses and unstable teams, then Isaac is definitely capable of shining through and scoring. So that's why I put Isaac at the top. The only problem is that's a 2.1 million funding that you need to do if you want to go for Pedro to Isaac. So that is something depending on your team.
Okay, I agree there. If you ask me, if I show Pedro, I think I don't know. I think my first option would be somewhere between Jackson and Visa. Although you did mention about form of Jackson, I understand. But the fixture against Luton at home, that could be somewhere there's potential explosive. But Visa already continue to defy everyone that maybe he's looks settled, even though he's do not take penalty. He actually the focal point Brentford up front, and he's continue producing, and the fixture is there. They're playing back to back home after this. Later we take a look at the fixture. So maybe Visa could be one of the consideration that we should think harder.
Yeah.
Other than that, Alvarez could be an option, but I'm still worried about his minutes. If you ask me,
Okay. Yeah, I'm not liking his positioning. He seems to be playing as a midfielder support role rather than as an out and out, because he's definitely not an out and out striker. He's being asked
yeah,
to provide support to Haaland,
okay,
which I feel he's a good striker by himself, but the role he's currently being asked to play is not something I like. And you're right, not in terms of minutes. I mean, at the moment, even his starting status is going to every week is going to be a question. Is he going to continue to start? So I know last week season I did rank him as someone that, if given the chance, he'll definitely perform. But to do that, he needs to play in his position, which is as a proper striker, and that's not something happening right now.
okay, all right. We touched about this option. Uh, let's go to the next one of game week 3 fixture, mate. Okay. Would you be surprised if I say that there will be another Friday deadline? Because Chelsea against Luton at 3 a.m. Friday night. So definitely people will really rushing or need to do that transfer. And if you think about Chelsea asset, the likes of Jackson to bring him in, you really need to pay attention what Pochettino will be saying. If let's say Jackson is confidently fit enough to play, I don't think there will be any injury unless Pochettino think about uh, rotating his player after that 3-1 defeat against West Ham. I hope there's not that issue. Okay. But there's something that we need to think about because Chelsea versus Luton really early deadline. Maybe we could have early team news. We never know. Then we have Bournemouth versus Spurs on Saturday, early kickoff. We know Spurs has been winning against Manchester United, and maybe people would think about getting any Spurs asset against Bournemouth at home. But we know Bournemouth is not really like a terrible side because they already produced one goal early against Liverpool. They actually scored first against Liverpool. Then we have Arsenal versus Fulham, enticing match because Fulham will not have his captain on his side, Team Ram. Maybe Arsenal could actually go, but we already said this before against Forest, but whether they can actually explode, we're still not sure. They have the past two game, they only scored 2 goals and 1 goal. We have Brentford versus Crystal Palace. I think this is going to be an interesting one because Palace is still a tough team, and London Derby. We have Everton versus Wolves. We expect Everton to bounce back, or Wolves could actually sneak a surprise win against Everton. And then we have Manchester United versus Forest. Although on paper looks like an easy match, but I'm still not sure, man. Forest can really be stubborn, right? Then we have Brighton against West Ham. Interesting to see whether Brighton can continue their really good form. They have 2 wins now. They shared the same points with Manchester City at the top of the table, and they scored highest 8 points. I think they are top of the league, if I'm right. Okay. Then we have on Sunday Burnley versus Villa. We have Sheffield United versus Man City. For sure, Man City are favorite to win this game. And then, can I say the big one for this weekend? Newcastle versus Liverpool. So, what you can make up for game week 3 fixture, mate?
Well, Game Week 3 sees us welcoming back two teams who got a rest from Game Week 2, which is Burnley and Luton, thanks to Luton's stadium. So Luton, technically speaking, are going to be well rested in theory against Chelsea's side, who are reeling from a loss against West Ham in the London derby. But I'm not sure it makes a difference, to be fair. And one thing, Pochettino is going to tighten up after what happened. So Chelsea here might even keep a clean sheet, and I don't see Luton get anything out of them. So it's just really about whether or not Chelsea can score uh, enough goals, and which is the reason, coming back to the Jacksons of the world, because the thing with Chelsea, right? Because we're all focusing on Jackson as someone who's going to score and also because maybe it's also affordable. But the thing is, can you name that Chelsea attacking lineup aside from Chilwell, that who you think will, if Jackson doesn't score, they'll take on that goal scoring role? You can't. That's the thing. You've got Sterling, you've got Modric, you've got Gallagher, so but you can't really say, okay, these are people who are going to step up and score. You can't see that. I can't see that at the moment. And if that's the case with the rest of the team, Jackson's not Harry Kane, where you just pass to him and he'll do the scoring. So that is the uncertainty that we have with Chelsea, and I'm more confident about the defense as a result, rather than exploring the attacking lineup.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, so that's what I have to say about Chelsea. I know it's going against the grain here, but I'm just not convinced yet. So yeah, then you have Bournemouth versus Spurs, and this could be an interesting match. Yeah, and as you say, I don't think Bournemouth are going to be that pushovers easy. Obviously, Spurs, will be really on the high after winning against Manchester United, but this match could be even closer than it looks. Yeah, so it's all up to how both managers set up the team. Okay, Arsenal versus Fulham is the match where I expect to see Arsenal return to form and actually score a good, decent amount of goals. I do think that Fulham are a bit dodgy at the moment, reeling. But if Palhinha does start, it will definitely provide some stability. Mitrovic, we know, has left, and that's led a huge gap as well in terms of the goal scoring ability. It takes away quite a lot of the goals from the previous season. So yeah, Arsenal should win comfortably for this one. And if you have at least two of the striking, then go for it. I guess it's only if you have Gabriel, then that's some question. But if you don't have Gabriel, you have three other Arsenal assets, they should be good to go. Brentford versus Crystal Palace is the battle between the bigger performing Chippy, which is Mbuemo and Wisa, versus the Eze, also supposedly performing but not giving you FPL points. So that will also be interesting to watch. Everton versus Wolves, I can foresee Wolves having more of the possession, but unfortunately failing to make it count. This could be the match where Pickford actually returns with a lot.
Right.
Yeah, so yeah, that's my call for this week. My call for this week is this is your third chance, Pickford. This is it. Yeah, because Manchester United.
I think if he missed this one, or he did not keep clean sheet, I think people will move away from him.
Yeah, it's just not looking good for Pickford, so we'll see. But Manchester United versus Forest, although I'm really doubtful about Manchester United, because we saw Forest really restricting Arsenal, and Arsenal's XG against Forest, even though they ended up winning, was not great. It wasn't even top 10, I think. So Forest have been, even though they were last season, they were rubbish at home, away, but they've managed to tighten up, even though they still lost, but they weren't conceding a lot of chances. So yeah, and I'm not confident about Manchester United scoring a lot, but if I had Manchester United assets, I'll probably still keep anyway. I'll stop there. I want to go through all, but yeah, I'll just stop there.
All right. Okay. I mean, we just go to captain pick, but I think clear the winner even in terms of voting, although it's still early. But you can see 66% going to Haaland. He plays away to Sheffield United. On top of that, okay, Saka did not perform. He might lose penalty. Rashford did not perform. Salah also, can I say, also not performing at his best. I think there is only clear one winner. I don't think it's a conversation anyway.
Yeah, it's against a promoted side, so it's really tough to look at trying to go clever for this one. And
Okay.
just go for Salah. Just go for Haaland.
Okay. Is there any case to like the likes of Chilwell mean against Luton? He could, if let's say Chelsea keep a clean sheet, Chilwell produce an attacking return. Is that panty?
Honestly, there is. Yeah, so I totally agree that Chilwell is second place behind Haaland in terms of possibilities, because Chilwell could do well, which is, you're looking at one attacking return plus a clean sheet and probably the whole of the bonus points as well. The thing is, Haaland, it just looks too good against a promoted side
Okay, all right.
to
Okay.
ignore him. Yeah.
Okay, done. We go to the next topic. Before we go to our team in, let's take a look at fixture checker for the next six. Clearly now Chelsea on top because they play back-to-back home against Luton Town promoted side and from the promoted side last season, Nottingham Forest. And then after that against Bournemouth away, Villa at home, then Fulham and Burnley. So basically really decent for the next six. After that, we got Luton Town. Okay, fair. They did not play last week, but the fixture is there in the running. Although in the six they played Chelsea and Spurs, but I don't think people will go there. We have Everton at third place in terms of fixture ticker. Wolf and then Sheffield United promoted side. So maybe Pickford still has two fixture to prove us. I don't know. I can see that Gameweek forming against Sheffield United. Let's say like us, which one will play? Turner or Pickford at that week, man. So that's gonna be tricky.
Well, I would probably play.
Because Turner gonna play at home.
Who do they play? I can't see.
uh, uh, Everton versus Sheffield United. They play each other.
Huh? No, but Turner plays for Forest.
Oh, sorry. I thought I was wrong.
No worries. Yeah, I made that mistake before. Yeah.
Yes. So
Yeah.
yeah, then
I
we can
mean,
see that in the top six, Man City, Spurs, and Manchester United.
yeah. So no, that whether or not we pick Pickford for that week will depend on this week
Okay.
against Wolves. Yeah. So yeah, I'll leave you to that. So I feel that if this is your week for Pickford holders, play against Wolves. Do you dare? So there you go. Because of course you got Forest against Manchester United. So that's where the Pickford we're defaulting to Pickford. So this is your litmus test. Anyway, so I think it's interesting that Chelsea Luton are first, but Luton themselves are second, but we don't know. They've only been one match. So even this fixture ticker looks good, it's hard to take it seriously at this point until we see more of Luton. Yeah, so yeah. And Everton there is also funny. So yeah, there you go. I don't know what to say. West Ham at the bottom, and is that really a good reflection? I'm not so sure, because I do think there's some quality there with James Ward-Prowse there. It's given West Ham a bit of a new lease of life. I know Brighton are a good side; they really attack, but at the same time, in terms of defense, I mentioned earlier that they're not exactly defensively solid. So West Ham can definitely score, and then they play Luton, right? Yeah, so there you go. So I think Manchester City, fine. It's really going to be tough. But then Liverpool, defensively, they're not solid either. So you can definitely score past them. And of course, the Sheffield United. So I a bit disagree with this. I do think West Ham should be further up.
Okay. I just want to touch because we talk about forward replacement of Joao Pedro, or who actually the next second forward supporting Haaland. You did touch about Isaac. Again, Newcastle. I just saw this fixture playing Liverpool at home. Maybe like you mentioned, Liverpool are still suspect right now. But after that, Brighton, Brentford, Sheffield United, Burnley, West Ham. I think decent. I think Isaac could be a good shot, but Champions League going to start somewhere after game before, I think.
Yeah.
So if that's happened, maybe we should worry about minutes because I said Wilson will get some minutes. Maybe someone start in Champions League, someone start in league. There's possibility, maybe.
It's definitely a possibility, but I don't think we need to worry too much about it at this point. I do think Isaac is still the first choice at the moment. Yeah, but at the end of the day, when Wilson comes in, he will have his chances to score. I think it's just a good side, but I think Isaac has locked it down for now.
Yeah, I think if let's say we want thinking about Visa versus Jackson, uh, pretty much if you want to take advantage or you want to punt on Jackson, this is the match that you can do. Luton and Forest, okay. Same like Brentford, Crystal Palace at home and Bournemouth at home, back to back. Although Crystal Palace is a tough night, but I feel at home they are strong. So there is a strong case. Visa and Jackson, Visa in terms of stats, in terms of goal, they already produced. Jackson is still suspect, but you really against Luton, if he did not deliver in that match, I'm pretty sure people won't expect anything more after. For other fixture, because Luton should be the what you call it, the match that he should be delivering.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah, that's right. I mean, this is your test for Jackson owners, because if you already have him, you'd keep him against that and see what
yeah,
happens.
if you have him, I think he's giving. Getting him
Yeah.
is going to be a tougher choice.
Yes, one I'm not taking at the moment.
Okay, I think we covered this. I think let's go to our team name.
Yep,
We go
let's
to
do
your
that.
team first.
Sure. Yep, no problem. Okay, so okay.
Sorry, this is
Oh,
our first team. We go to your team. Yep.
yeah. So for my team, I'm seriously considering saving a transfer. And just using one transfer. The whole plan was to look at two, but because one of the so last week my problem right now is that last for game week 1, I benched the wrong person. I benched Chilwell. Second game week, I benched the wrong person. I benched White. So it's a bit So my for my third trick, I'm looking at benching Pedro. So let's see what happens there. Okay. So White moves up because the thing is, the problem with Arsenal again, White is still playing as that centre back position, but I'm still holding out and seeing. I don't see enough merit to not to just sell him out just yet. So let's see. And the person I'm going to uh, change is Trent Alexander-Arnold. Now I mentioned after game week 1 that I want to monitor and see how his role is, how influential he is, and I just haven't seen that. I haven't seen that enough for him because he is the highest price defender in the game. So he needs to do a lot, and I haven't seen it. Liverpool's midfield do not convince me, and as a result, he's the player I'm going to be looking at taking out. Now, who do I take it out for? That's a good question. So I have a few options. The first person I immediately considered was Trippier. So Newcastle play Liverpool first, and maybe I can't remember the next match, but after that they have a great run of fixtures. So I thought I'd move in early because I feel that this Newcastle Liverpool match is being underestimated. I think Newcastle will definitely. If you just look at that midfield, for crying out loud, you've got Tonali, and
Tonali.
Gutierrez. They are stronger than any combination of Liverpool midfielders you have at the moment. Yeah, Gumares himself is just not Gutierrez. Bruno Gumares is just crazy. He's so good in that midfield, and that's why I feel going with a Newcastle player could really get you benefits. Okay, so that's Trippier. Another option I have is Gusto. So Gusto, because I'm more confident about Chelsea's ability to keep a clean sheet than in attack, and if attack, I can always rely on Chilwell. So that is the second option, and the third option is we've seen City keeping clean sheets. So let's go for a City option. So and I'm looking at Guardiola at the moment simply because those of us who have played the World Cup game, you remember Guardiola is capable of scoring goals. So that is my outlook at the moment.
I think I must agree. I think the Trippier or Guardiola option looks good, and I think Trippier more prominent, right? So yes, 6.5. It doesn't matter in terms of budget. I think you can own anyone. If you can own TA, definitely you can
Yeah.
own Trippier.
The only worry, someone pointed out to me that Trippier is now 33 years old. I'm a bit worried that that raised a concern of maybe for the easier match he might be benched. So that's something I need to put into consideration.
Okay, okay, fair. But I think whatever that you thinking, like the Trippier or the Guardiola or any Man City defender, I think I'm going to support that. Okay, as long as you pick the right one. Gusto, I'm not too sure. I'm unwilling to double up for Chelsea defense unless you just want to put bench for the. But you never know. If let's say Chelsea perform and then you want to get triple Chelsea assets, then Gusto could actually hinder you from getting those players
Maybe.
if that's the potential. But we just won't know, right? Okay, so you're thinking keeping Joao Pedro, but you're benching him, right? Okay,
Yeah.
okay, fair. I think let's go to my team because you do not have
Oh,
any money.
sorry, just one more thing I want to point out. The activation of Cameron Archer, who is now joined
Ah,
Sheffield United. So I now have an extra bench player that I can. So all now I have all three playing bench players. So which is good.
all right, good stuff, man. Let's go to my team. I'm same like Azmin. I have Pickford on goal. I'm gonna play Pickford this week and give it final chance, Azmin. I don't know. We shall see. Then I have Estupinan, Gabriel, and Shaw right now. I have Martinelli, Rashford, Mitoma, Saka, Bruno Fernandes, and I have Haaland and Watkins. And on my bench, Turner, Destiny, Udogi, Osula against Man City. I don't think I'm going to play him and Koso Kabore. So I have two free transfer with 0.5 million in the bank. Clearly, I think with Chelsea playing Luton at home, I do not have any Chelsea asset. My first priority is definitely getting in Chilwell. I think before he explode, I better get him in. His ownership right now already 22-23%, if I'm right. So and I could actually be lucky because Silva did not perform anything against West Ham. He could actually produce anything from that game. So
Yeah.
now this is the time. And the most frustrating player right now is definitely Gabriel for me. He's been benching, although there's possibility that maybe committee they mentioned Gabriel could actually has a chance to start because Tomiyasu red carded. But after that, what? You don't know in future, right? Gabriel gonna play or not. Zinchenko could take into his place. So I don't want this headache. I think Gabriel need to be out. So Chilwell need to come in for Gabriel. I suppose that's the first transfer you make. Maybe people can mention Saliba could be an option, but I think Chilwell should be the first option that I need to get him in. The only thing I cannot do only one transfer by getting him in because Chilwell now is 5.7. I don't have money. I need to get money out somewhere.
Yes.
So I'm not
Yes.
too sure. I'm not too
Where's the
sure.
money coming from?
That's right. I'm not too sure because you look at the team. Rashford and Bruno playing at home against Forest, although they do not perform. I think they play home Forest. Maybe they could do something. And then Arsenal, Saka and Martinelli playing at home against Fulham, and that, like you mentioned, me, they could explode in this game. So do I want to take Martinelli? I don't think I'm going to take Saka out. Do I want to consider Martinelli out and fund? Say people want Mbuemo right now. I think maybe Mbuemo could be the right pick to get him in. But for who? So I'm not too sure. So my thinking right now, maybe what kids that I need to go out. I don't know. They play Burnley away. Then next week, is it? I think someone harder. Let me check. Quickly one. I think Aston Villa gonna play away to Liverpool, which yeah, you can say Liverpool are leaking, but away game is still away game.
No.
And maybe I
Hang on,
think I think
go-
there's I think there's only two options I'm gonna do: whether take out money from midfield or take out money from forward. If I'm taking from forward, it's definitely Watkins out. In midfield, if I am going to take it out, most probably Martinelli is the one because other players is more Seco in terms of minutes. Martinelli like take out after 70 minutes. There's potentially what normally Arteta do and getting in the likes of Rossard on others. So I think that's my thinking right now. If let's say I'm going for forward, Watkins to Wisa or Jackson. If Martinelli, definitely go for Mbuemo.
Yeah.
What do you think?
Yeah, I think. Yeah. I think that's the thing because but so by doing so, then you go double Chelsea, right? Watkins and Chilwell to Jackson and Watkins and Gabriel to Chilwell and Jackson. So then you're putting some faith in Chelsea there. So yeah, but I do think because I didn't watch the Aston Villa match, but I did ask a Aston Villa fan, and he said Watkins did look off. So I don't know that also impacted on him to not take the penalties instead of Douglas Luiz. We're not sure, but yeah, at the moment, looking at that candidate list and judging from the fixtures, yeah, probably Watkins. I'm going to put my neck on the line and also say a possible option is Bruno Fernandes, simply because I'm not confident of his current role. But now something that we need to think about is now that Mason Mount is out, he's injured by the way. So will that allow Ten Hag to play the previous way that he's been playing in terms of the setup? So which would free up, technically speaking, it would free up Bruno Fernandes a lot more. So that's something that we need to think about. And if not, then then he becomes a candidate to sell. However, if it does free him up better, then sell Watkins.
Right, fair. I think I'm going to think about it until the Friday deadline. But for now, that's my thinking. I think I'm going to get in Chilwell for sure. I'm going to get him in. But the fund coming from where? Is it from the form of Watkins or maybe from Martinelli or Bruno? I think that's the thinking right now. Okay. Let's take up some question, Min. We can see plenty of question there. Play Pickford or Johnston. I think I'm going to give Pickford one more chance. Johnston play away to Brentford and Brentford can be really good, right?
What do you mean one more chance? You haven't played him yet, have you?
The first game week, I played.
Oh, first game week you played Pickford. That's right. Yeah, we did. Yeah, we did. So short memories. Yeah. Pickford. Yeah, I'm Pickford as well. Let's give it to him.
I already have Rashford, Saka, like everyone else, Martinelli, Bitoma. Who's gonna be my fifth slot? Whether Mbuemo or March is the one to pick. I think Mbuemo is the one because I don't want to double up Brighton players, but I'm not sure. Okay?
Yeah, same here. Go for Mbuemo.
All right, Enzo or Sterling. Enzo looks like he's gonna take penalty, but he missed. Whether he's gonna take again, I'm not too sure. But Sterling looks lively in that game against West Ham. So, but I'm still unsure, to be frank.
It's lively, but is he getting the points? That's the part I'm just not convinced. Sorry.
Okay. I think not a concession, but I think between these two, maybe Sterling to an extent, but still it's not a great pick. Next one, this interesting question, like we mentioned, if we want to go Wisa or Jason Min. I think in terms of form, it's Wisa, clearly.
Yeah, Brentford look great, to be honest. Yeah. So if I'm given the choice, I go Wisa as well, not Jackson. I mean, look, at the start of the week, I was all for Jackson, but that's changed. I'm between the two, I'll go Wisa.
Okay, man. Pedro, you're the owner. Keep or sell? You did intend to keep if you have Pedro. Afos is not here. If not, I'm going to ask him that question.
If you short on playing players, then sell. Otherwise, keep. That's my position.
Okay, good. With Madison injured, Lo Celso, good part. I'm not sure about this. Is he really out? We are not sure, right?
No, it's a wait and see for me. Yeah, I'm not liking that fact that Madison's injured because Madison. The thing is, Madison was at the heart of all of Spurs' good attacking play. So without Madison, can Spurs play the same way against like they did against Manchester United and secure a good result? I'm not so sure. I'm not convinced.
Henry or Pinnock both playing at Brentford. I think Henry already produced an assist. Maybe he's a clearer winner against Pinnock. What do you think, man?
Yeah.
Although I
So
still remember Pinnock really destroyed me last season because he's
Hen,
actually scored.
Hen, Henry is more attacking, that's for sure.
Uh,
But Pinnock has the ability to from set pieces to score goals. So given the balance, I go Henry at this moment.
okay, fair. I also go with Henry. If Mbomo my target, who to sell, Diaby or Eze? If let's say he has Diaby and Eze, who the ones to go for Mbomo, man? It's going to be hard, right?
I saw Diaby. I still want to give Eze uh, another chance again. But yeah,
Okay, yeah, I think so. The stats also mentioned in terms of shot return is still up there. All right. Uh, keep faith on Gabriel. I'm a Gabriel owner. I'm already lose my faith, so he needs to go. Sorry, he needs to go. Regardless, in the community, they said maybe Gabriel gonna play this game. Fair, he might actually get this game. But moving forward, you're not sure,
yeah,
right?
yeah. It's just so the question is it because he's part of that some Arabian club wanting him, or is really Arteta thinking that he's no longer
Hmm.
integral part of that defense? And a lot of Twitter speak saying that he isn't because of certain factors, but it's still wait and see for me. So no,
Okay.
but if you have him, probably sell him for now.
All right. I think this is interesting question, man. Which more important? Last minute team news or chasing price?
I think I've never been a big fan of chasing price up and down for team value, because if that was the case, I would have sold Pedro already because he looks
Yeah.
like that because his price was going down. But yeah, I'm more favor a last minute team news, but that can always backfire. And so but between the two last minute team news, I'm more favor for that.
Okay. Fair. I think especially this season, I think price is should not be an issue because we have plenty of money. I mean, to be frank, even like Afos, he has 3 million in the bank because he played Pedro, and if he wants to upgrade to Jackson, he still have 1 million in the bank. So I think money should be no issue, and we should not be chasing price, especially this season. That's what I feel. Next
I
question,
agree.
man. Sideways move, Saka to Odegaard. I think wait and
No.
see. I really see. If you want compliment Saka and Odegaard, maybe that's a better thinking instead of getting one of them. If let's say there is potentially moving forward, Odegaard could take some of the penalty if that's the case. Maybe Odegaard in terms of minute is also more secure than Martinelli. So and he's the captain of Arsenal. All right.
Yeah, for me it's a no. Yeah, it's a no for me.
Okay. Your question, mate. I think two people asking about Salah. The first question first. Will Salah hold his penalty duty?
I don't know. I do feel that if he's he I do worry that if they remove Salah's penalty duties, then it may actually also impact in terms of his own motivation.
I think
So
so.
I I think he will still continue to hold, but
Okay.
barely.
All right. Next question about Salah from Ashraf. We mentioned before, keep Salah or sell him. Azmin, they mentioned it's time to sell.
Sell, sell until we see some stability, and in that attack, and because we've seen the Jota and Diaz are delivering compared to him. Yeah, so sell.
Right. Mr. Shaf did mention Newcastle midfielder over Liverpool midfielder. That's what he's thinking.
I'm assuming it's not in terms of pick, but more a general statement. And yeah, I totally agree.
All right, man. We covered everything. So we almost 1.5 hour we are streaming, man.
Shoot,
So
shouldn't fix that.
so yeah, really, really time flies by, but it's really good that we've been talking and streaming, and at least we can address some of the issue that we want. So clearly, maybe we take one last question from my cousin Iskandar Al Bakri. Ask about McAllister, mate. Will McAllister get his points? He's suspended, right?
When you say McAllister because because his red card got rescinded? No, he won't get it. He won't get anything back. If I assume that's what you mean. Yeah,
Okay.
but having McAllister is a good plus for Liverpool, though, that he will play against Newcastle because they're gonna need him.
Okay, good stuff. Just to remind everyone, deadline this week will be at 1:30 a.m. and we're gonna be Friday night live stream supposedly. And to everyone here, thank you for watching, and do hit the like button and subscribe to our FPL Jedi YouTube channel, and you can click on that notification button or bell so that you can receive when notification whenever we are live. So your last word, man.
There are one too many Friday night deadlines. Hopefully, we'll get more back to Saturdays. It's very exhausting, actually, to be fair. So yeah, all the best for Gameweek 3, and I'll see you.
It is what it is. It is what it is. Hopefully, we can stream again in our deadline stream. Until then, everyone, take care and may the force be with you. Bye bye.
Bye.